Welcome back to my show. This is Ted Talk Stamps, and I'm your host, Ted the Talking Stamp Collector. And today I'd like to talk about a set of stamps from Austria that was issued starting in January of 2002. In the Austrian ANK stamp catalog, it's titled Ferienland Österreich, which means Vacation Land Austria. There are 28 values in this set, starting with the first 5 that were issued in January of 2002. Now, these were the first set of stamps issued after Austria converted to the euro dollar from their old shillings. And so the face values of these 5 stamps were just direct conversions of the old shilling face values to euro dollars. So we end up with some odd values like 53 cents, 58 cents, $2.03. But the next year, the postal rates were all revamped and 8 new stamps were issued, all with nice round numbers like ending in 5 and 0. And I know 5 is not a round number, but you get the idea. And then, now that the first 5 were obsolete, they printed up 5 more makeup rate stamps to add to the old values. So the original 51 stamp had a matching 4-cent stamp to make up the new 55-cent rate. And finally, in order to use up all of these old values, they overprinted them with a new 55-cent rate. And that's the subject of this program, these overprints that are some of the most artistic and whimsical overprints you are liable to find on any stamps. So let's get into it. In 2004, Austria Post found them sitting on a lot of unsold, obsolete inventory. So they decided to go back to the 51-cent stamp and overprint it with a new 55-cent value. But they weren't going to just use any old overprint. They wanted to be artistic about it. So they went back to the original stamp designer for the series, Adolf Thuma, and told him to come up with a suitably artistic overprint for the stamp. And this is what he came up with. The stamp depicts the alleyway known as Schönlatterngasse, and that is also the locale of an ages-old myth about the basilisk whose mere gaze could cause death. And so the overprint pictures the basilisk. Now, Austria Post still had all the other obsolete values to overprint, and they came up with the idea of going to the art academy, and they held a competition for the students to come up with some artistic overprints for those stamps. And here are the 8 winners that they chose. The 58-cent value got a stylized 55-cent denomination. The 73-cent value ended up with a squadron of ski jumpers flying overhead. The cow on the 87-cent value got some black stripes added to it to morph it into a tiger. And then you'll notice that obliterating the old value is a cow's head. The 203 euro value, it got cropped by adding some simulated perforations to create a new, smaller stamp. Now, the Schönlatterngasse was also a location used in the film version of the classic Graham Greene novel, The Third Man, and the 4-cent overprint recalls that scene. And on the 13-cent stamp, someone has built a fence to contain all the cattle. The 17 stamp got a wine drinker. And on the 27-cent stamp, they printed a quote from the film actor Helmut Qualtinger that states, "Austria is a labyrinth in which everyone is familiar." Okay, so if you're following along in your scorecard, you'll notice that though there are 10 original stamps, there have been only 9 overprints. That's because the 7-cent value was only printed in an initial run of 450,000 copies, and that inventory had actually gotten depleted. And Austria Post, in, I don't know, a sense of artistic symmetry or a feeling of closure or completion, decided to reprint the stamp in a run of 850,000 copies, which they then immediately overprinted with this silhouette foreground tree, which was designed by the original stamp designer again, Adolf Thuma. And with that, this set was complete. And here's what the set looks like in my custom printed album page using Clive Levinson's Album Easy program. And you can find that program on the net at thestampweb.com. And as you'll notice, all the similarly designed stamps are in the same column. So we start with the original 5 euro values, and we move down to the makeup rate stamps, down to the original 5 overprints, and the makeup rate overprints. And then on the next page, we have the 8 stamps issued for the new postal rates. Now, for specialists who like varieties, this set has them. Over the course of its life, there were several different papers used in printing, and the Briefmarken Forum member, Wilma, has noted no less than 5 different gums in different colors and gloss. So that completes this look at the Vacationland Austria set. I hope you found it informative. If you did, I hope you'll then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of future episodes as they go up. And I want to take one final moment to give my heartfelt thanks to the members of the Briefmarken Forum Board in Austria, particularly the members Wilma and Gerhard. They were just of immense value in providing just so much information about this set. And if you are interested in these stamps of Austria and worldwide stamps for that matter, I would encourage you to give the board a visit. And even though the board is in German, they do welcome English language speakers. I have a link down in the description below. And with that, I'll just sign off and give you one final look at the whole series with this closing slideshow. See you next time.